Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Cannella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Glazer, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
The Secretary notices the presence of a quorum. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We'll be led in prayer this morning by our chaplain, Sister Michelle Gorman, after which please remain standing. We'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Hueso.
Let us center ourselves in God's presence. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have become true because we have dreamed too little, when we arrived safely because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. And having fallen too much in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on higher seas where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push us into the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in saluting our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will recess the regular session and convene the second extraordinary session. The prayer and the pledge will be deemed complete. We'll move on to unfinished business. Items 1 and 2 will begin with item 1. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 5 by Senator Leno, an act relating to electronic cigarettes.
Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this bill is back on concurrence and assembly amendments, which were technical in nature. Briefly, just to remind you, this bill will include e-cigarettes under our smoke-free laws, under our licensing laws, and under the Stop Tobacco Access to Kids Enforcement Act, otherwise known as the STAKE Act. Defining e-cigarettes as a tobacco product aligns our definition with the federal definition of tobacco products, as well as pending regulations before the Food and Drug Administration. I ask for your concurrence on assembly amendments.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion or debate? Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning, members. Educational programs over the years have been very successful in reducing people's smoking in the United States. In 1965, 42.5% of adults smoked compared to 19% in 2011. In 1997, 36.4% of teenagers smoked compared to 18% in 2011. And we've also learned with newer technologies and research that nicotine has dramatic effects on adolescent brains. We understand today the brain continues to develop well into the 20s. Nicotine use in adolescents and young adults has been associated with cognitive and behavioral issues. There is a strong concern that e-cigarettes represent a gateway to traditional cigarettes and other tobacco products. Approximately 263,000 middle and high school students use e-cigarettes in a year, according to one study, even though they've never smoked a conventional cigarette. Of these adolescents, just under half reported the intent to smoke conventional cigarettes the next year. From 2011 to 2014, the percentage of 12th grade students who ever use e-cigarettes increased from 4.7 to almost 17.5%. For the first time, more teenagers use e-cigarettes than cigarettes. E-cigarettes, as you know, are entirely unregulated by the FDA, although the FDA is looking to regulate them. Because of this, there are no safety checks as to what can or cannot be included in the formulas that go into e-cigarettes. Initial lab tests conducted by the FDA in 2009 found detectable levels of cancer-causing chemicals, including ethylene glycol, commonly known as antifreeze. And other studies found that the aerosol from e-cigs with larger voltage levels contain other cancer-containing items such as formaldehyde, nitrosamines, and yes, even benzene. What about the safety of secondhand vapor that has never been studied? That's something the FDA will have to continue to investigate. There's been no peer-reviewed studies that have been published that have proven that e-cigarettes help people that are addicted to nicotine to wean themselves off traditional cigarettes, although we heard many speakers say that they're helpful in that endeavor. Adam Leventhal, the director of USC Health, Emotion, and Addiction Laboratory, says e-cigarettes may be drawing a new generation of teens into recreational nicotine because they are high-tech, they can be purchased somewhat easily, come in enticing flavors and scents, and have a perception that they're not harmful. All the progress, my friends, that we've made since 1965 to educate people about the hazards of smoking may be for naught, as vaping has started a new generation of nicotine junkies that will be helplessly addicted and will ultimately graduate to smoking cancer sticks that will, on the average, reduce their life expectancy by upwards of 14 years and ultimately cost the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, to take care of the health care sequelae associated with that use. The health hazards of nicotine are known and are undisputable. The safety of vaporizing and inhaling solvents like glycerin, ethylene glycol, and flavors has not been determined. One thing that I strongly support in this bill is that all the containers containing liquid nicotine will now have child-proof caps. Nicotine is a poison, and in which there is as little as 1 teaspoonful, my friends, 1 teaspoonful can be fatal to our children. Higher incidence of infants and children going to emergency rooms with nicotine intoxication are on the rise. And finally, one study showed that 76.8% of people that recently use e-cigarettes are concurrently smoking conventional cigarettes, codifying my concern that vaping is a gateway to cigarette use, which we all know for certain is much more dangerous. And for all these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in opposition to this bill. And I grew up in a home where my mother smoked, and I can still remember pleading as a young child, a grade schooler, to ask her to quit. And thankfully she did. But everyone has a right and the freedom to smoke. And we're a country, and it's maybe my libertarian streak, but I'm not going to tell someone that they shouldn't do something that might even be harmful to them. And so I'm a little concerned about what we're doing in recharacterizing e-cigarettes. So I spent Sunday afternoon and visited a vaping shop. Quite a cultural experience for me, since I did probably the only one in there without a tattoo on. But I asked the manager of the shop a lot of questions. How much nicotine? Does it really help transition people away from cigarettes, et cetera, et cetera? Just trying to get educated. And nicotine's an option. You don't have to have an e-cigarette with nicotine. And in fact, he said in his personal testimony that thanks to e-cigarettes, he was able to reduce and remove himself from a nicotine habit. So I agree with the senator from Palm Springs that there are a lack of studies. I think maybe we're acting a little prematurely, but we're also going after an entire new growth industry in California. This is an amazing set of businesses that are providing a product, and we are with one giant blanket saying all of your products are now considered tobacco products and now subject to taxation, which is the next debate we'll be having. I think that's not a good move for our business community, for a new industry. I think we need to differentiate. I think we ought to say, okay, if you're buying a nicotine-based e-cigarette product, then that should be considered tobacco, but not everything else. So for that reason, colleagues, I will be opposing this bill.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Leno, please close.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I was intending to stay just on the Assembly amendments, but given that the issue of the bill in chief has been brought up, I do want to take just a brief moment to respond to my colleague from Orange County. One would, having heard his comments, believe that we are banning e-cigarettes. We are not. We are going with this bill to define them as the tobacco products that they are. The concern with whether a e-cigarette has nicotine in it or not is that it is an unregulated industry. There is no one checking to see what's in this product. Nobody. And tests have shown that products that claim to be nicotine-free are in fact not. So we're not killing a budding industry. Half of the population of California already lives under local ordinances identical to what is before us today. 178 cities and counties in California have already passed local ordinances. This will just bring the other half of the state along with it. And these vape shops and all of these small businesses are thriving in all these areas that already have this kind of regulation. The reason we're doing this bill, as my colleague from Temecula has already said, is to address a growing health crisis assaulting the children of California. You want to protect the health and well-being of the children of California and save billions of tax dollars addressing the health problems that will be brought by another generation of nicotine-addicted Californians. Please vote yes on this bill.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? No. De Leon? Aye. Fuller? No. Gaines? No. Galgiani? Glazer? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? Jackson? Aye. Lada? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nielsen? Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? No. Stone? Aye. Vidak? No. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Galgiani? Huff? Nielsen?
Ayes 26, noes 11. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. Moving on to unfinished business, file item number 2. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 7 by Senator Hernandez, an act relating to tobacco.
Senator Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, this bill before you today represents a historic opportunity for the state of California. Today, we are poised to pass the single most comprehensive tobacco packages that this country has seen for decades, and perhaps ever. This bill will increase the tobacco purchase age in California to 21. In so doing, we can prevent countless California youth from becoming addicted to this deadly drug, saving billions of dollars in direct healthcare costs, and most importantly, saves lives. Amendments taken in the Assembly remove the penalty provisions for underage possession. It exempts military personnel with a valid military ID from a higher age restriction, and it'll make small technical changes. I know opposition for big tobacco in this measure has been fierce. Believe me, they have been working this. But this only proves how important it is to them and what a big market California is to the tobacco industry. And although Big Tobacco never wrote a formal letter of opposition or testified in public legislative hearings against the measure, the last several months have proven just how much tobacco's business model depends on their ability to market and sell this poison to our kids. It is time that we take a stand, and this is why I came up here to make a difference. We can't afford to sit on the sidelines any longer. It's time for California to lead the way in tobacco control once again. And members, with that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Any discussion or debate? Senator Stone.
Thank you again, Madam President, and thank you to my friend Senator from San Gabriel for bringing this forward. It's interesting if you look at the history of cigarette smoking. There really was no cigarette smoking prior to the 1900s. It was basically put in pipes and made into cigars, and until we had the Industrial Revolution and we came up with these machines that started putting out cigarettes. And we certainly learned about the power of advertising, as the first marketed cigarette in the United States was Camels in 1913, which was so successful in their marketing campaigns that they developed all these other brands to compete. But there was a lot of things that we didn't know in the 1900s when it was fashionable to smoke. They didn't know that smoking caused cancer. They didn't know that it caused heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases such as emphysema and asthma. And smoking also increased the risk of getting tuberculosis. And we had a lot of immigrants that were coming through into our country. Certain eye disease, immune system problems, including rheumatoid arthritis, and yes, even erectile dysfunction, although not understood at the time as a medical problem. The tobacco industry spends, as we know, billions of dollars annually advertising these products. In 2012, they spent $9 billion, more than 25 million every day, more than 1 million every hour, to educate people about the wonderful products that they're selling. Educational programs that was mentioned in the last item are very successful in reducing the number of people that are smoking in the United States. We've made tremendous progress. It's unfortunate that with $9 billion spent by advertising by tobacco companies, we only spent about $500 million nationwide on educating the public about the hazards that are known about nicotine. And we also understand about the nicotine effects on the brain. It was discussed in the last issue as well, that they continue to develop. Our brains continue to develop well into the 20s, and the addiction at a younger age makes it even more difficult to have smoking cessation programs work successfully in later life. These important findings alone suggest that raising the age to 21 is important. Over the last weekend, I met with a friend of mine. His name was Don. He was a very successful CPA to the stars in Hollywood, and we were at the Mission Inn at a opera fundraiser. And he was struggling to catch his breath walking to the table. And we got to talking, and I said, "Did you smoke, Don?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "I did smoke." And I said, well, if you knew what we knew today about smoking, do you think that maybe you would not have smoked or you would have quit earlier? And he said, absolutely. It was in vogue, you know, in the 40s and the 50s to smoke cigarettes. We didn't know about these health hazards. We didn't know that it was just as addictive as heroin. And I've tried to stop and haven't been able to. And it's now making my quality of life really poor. And one of my best friends, Alan Kleinberg, probably one of the greatest jewelers I've ever known, he died of lung cancer in his 50s, and we talked all the time about him quitting smoking. And he said, I want to stop, but I can't stop. And smoking basically became his death sentence. May my friend Alan Kleinberg rest in peace. And of course, you've heard the story of my mother who had smoked from 16. I'll never forget one day driving to my grandparents' home in Los Angeles, my mother, and at a very young age, I heard on the news about a person that died. His name was Nat King Cole, died of lung cancer, and my mom was smoking in the car on the way to Los Angeles. I said, Mom, he died of lung cancer. Why don't you stop smoking? And she goes, I've tried, but I can't. My friends, we take an oath of office, all of us, to protect the health and safety of the residents that we represent. Smoking has been shown to be the leading cause of preventable death. Worldwide, 6 million people die a year. Current trends increase that number to 8 million by 2030. 480,000 deaths in the United States per year, 1,333 per day, 60 per hour, 1 per minute. We're going to lose 10 people to lung cancer or tobacco-related diseases by the time I finish my dissertation here today. More than 20 million Americans have died since 1965, including 2.5 million people that didn't smoke, but had to succumb to the sequelae of breathing smoke from other people, right? From secondhand smoke. On the average, smokers die 13 to 14 years earlier than those that don't smoke. And it causes other types of cancers, such as throat cancer, mouth cancer, nasal cancer, esophageal cancer, stomach cancer, pancreas, kidney, bladder, cervix. Smokers are 30 to 40% more likely to get type 2 diabetes. Men with prostate cancer are more likely to die if they're smokers. And here's what's alarming. Every day, 3,200 kids, less than 18 years old, smoke their first cigarette. Each day, an estimated 2,100 youth and young adults who were occasional smokers became daily cigarette smokers. 9 out of 10 smokers started before 18, which is compelling in light of this bill. And according to the Center for Disease Control, if smoking continues at the current rate among the youth in this country, 5.6 million of today's Americans younger than 18 will die early from a smoke-related illness. That's 1 in 13 Americans aged 17 or younger today. Will that be a family member of yours, a child, a grandchild, a niece, or a nephew? As a pharmacist for over 35 years, I've seen the morbidity and premature mortality associated with many people that have patronized my many pharmacies. I've dispensed millions of dollars of drugs to treat those with tobacco-related illnesses or prescriptions for smoking cessation products. I want you to know that I stand with the California Pharmacists Association in supporting this bill. And I don't believe that this bill should be a partisan issue. It's about protecting the health of our kids that are more mature and more educated to make these kinds of decisions when they're 21 years old and can better understand the risks associated with cigarette smoking and make an informed, educated choice, a free choice to smoke or not. Please make your vote count for our children and our children's children by supporting this important bill. We often hear on the floor of this Senate that where California goes, the nation goes. Let's be the second state in the union to stand up for protecting our kids and hope that other states will follow. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Stone. Senator Anderson.
Senators, I rise in opposition. Over the last week or so, we've received a lot of contact in my district office. My district represents a lot of retired military, a lot of young military coming back from overseas who are going through PTSD. And many of them are saying that this is one of the things that helps them cope with the pressures. And while I get that we know that smoking is not good for you, I don't want to remove this option from them so that their only alternative is to smoke marijuana, of which does not have filters, is equally dangerous to your lungs, and gets them high. I don't see how this forcing people into our marijuana market makes sense for people in my district. So for those reasons, I won't be supporting it today. I want to help all those young people who are suffering PTSD, who have returned after defending our freedom around the world, and give them an opportunity to get whole and healthy. And over time, I hope that they're able to kick the cigarette habit, but in the interim time, I don't want to make their life any more difficult than it is already. and I certainly don't want to force them into a circumstance in which they have to transfer smoking cigarettes to transfer to smoking marijuana. I urge a no vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Hernandez, please close.
Thank you, Madam President. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? No. De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? Galgiani? No. Glazer? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Weso? Aye. Huff? Jackson? Aye. Lada? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? Nilsson? Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? No. Stone? Aye. Vidak? No. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen? Aye. Bates? No. De Leon? Aye. Gaines? Huff? Wynn? Nilsson?
Ayes 26, noes 10. The Assembly amendments are concurred in.